don't see how not. I haven't been with nobody else but him.
Ma, you had to be with somebody
But
else.
I wasn't.
You had to. The tests do not lie.
I know it don't lie, but I have not been with nobody else but him.
So now I get punished. I get punished because I'm not money worthy. You know, to keep them happy. Keep them happy.
Whoa, hold your phones. Did a casual weekend hookup turn into a decades-long mystery? Miss Wilson's now on a wild goose chase to track down her daughter's real pops. And guess where she ended up? Yep, you guessed it. The Drama Central Paternity Court.
It means a lot to me, but it means more to my daughter. And I just want Mr. Dowdy to take full responsibility.
And up until now, he has not?
No, ma'am, he has not.
All right.
Your Honor,
so
he
how
was my
did you
first
meet?
love. He
How
was
did
my
you
first love. He was the first person that I fell hard in love with. I've never been in love with anybody else until I met him.
Mr. Dowdy suddenly recalls a fling with Miss Wilson and conveniently labels her as a past party animal. And hey, he's thinking there might be some other dude in the mix too. Talk about playing the memory game. Well, this is what he had to say.
When I first met Barbara, I'll never forget the day. We was sitting like in the living room, and she had some red lipstick on. And I asked her, could I taste that red lipstick? And from there on, and so we spent the next 3 days in each other's arms.
Miss Wilson, were you dating anybody else at that time?
No, no one else.
So like when Mr. Dowdy heard that Miss Wilson was knocked up, he was like, oh joy! His folks handed him cash for that news, and he didn't even bother to visit her. Huh, talk about making some heck of quality life choices, I must say.
I did come back about maybe a year later to go find her. But when I did get there, I went to where she last place I knew she lived, and some dude approached me like, oh, she's not here, we don't want you around here, we don't want to have nothing to do with you. But he did tell me that she was in Philadelphia. That was pretty much like the way he threatened me. I felt as though he could have been the father.
Oh boy, well if you threaten a man like that, he'll probably end up having that idea. But according to Miss Wilson, the man who left behind was no one other than her family member. Just focus on what she says next.
When I left one of a family member in that apartment when I left. And it wasn't nobody I was dating or he could have been possibly the father, a family member. We don't do that. That's called incest.
But I didn't know who he was, basically. I didn't know who he was.
Our mama here had been telling her daughter that Mr. Dowdy was her real dad, giving her hope that one day she would know the truth. But hold on. This is what she had to say about spending a life without a father.
When I was a child, I had to go to school and see other kids with their daddy. They used to ask me, well, where's your daddy? I used to just lie and make up stuff. I would say that he's dead or he lives in another state somewhere. Why? Why did you do me this way? It was just hard the whole time.
Well, guess what, folks? Little Miss Sunshine over here wasn't exactly throwing a dance party about the whole deal. She's all like, I've had enough of this, and decided to give both a piece of her mind. You go, girl.
You was adopted and have your real parent. Why not step up as a parent for your child?
I never met my mother.
It's the same situation.
I never met my real mother.
It's just you was blessed to get a family to take care of you. I wasn't.
I understand.
But you was a healthy human being that you should have stepped up and found your child to give me a better life.
So, after all that jaw-jacking and collecting clues like it was a hunt, it was finally time to wrap up this never-ending saga. Drum roll, please. Cue the DNA magic and the grand finale verdict, because we are done wasting time.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Dowdy, you are not the father.
I don't see how not. I haven't been with nobody else but him.
Ma, you had to be with somebody
But
else.
I wasn't.
You had to. The tests do not lie.
I know it don't lie, but I have not been with nobody else but him.
Twin sisters brought their father to court, claiming the reason he was denying paternity was motivated by finances. However, the father strongly objected that claim, and in doing so, accused the mommy of infidelity and whatnot. But here was the twist. This all came up only a year ago at a birthday party. Well, that part must have been fun. not for these guys.
Well, it all started about a year ago at his birthday party. And we overheard him speaking to some of our family members saying, y'all know these not my kids. That's what he was saying. We heard him. Now we was listening. Saying to our family members, y'all know they're not my kids.
I'm down here raising all these sins and nobody is helping. Okay. That's what he was explaining to the rest of our family members.
Shedding light on this sordid love affair came to be when we got to know that Mr. Eggleston noticed 3 big things about the baby mama, and he was hooked. But pretty soon, all that went downhill when Mama pulled a few stunts and the babies came out glowing. You gotta see that yourselves, folks.
So you were in the delivery room?
Yes, with my little mask on and doctor suit on.
Why? Why doubt?
When I seen them coming out, they was glowing.
They were glowing?
Yeah. Look how pale they was, and plus the gook on their body, they was shining.
So when they were born, you say they were glowing because they were very pale?
Yes.
Man, these guys wasted no moment to be at each other's throats. But wait a moment, because the baby daddy had an inner monologue between his devil and angel arguing over acknowledging paternity. You can't make this stuff up, people. And that led to courtroom chaos.
I was never able to buy 2 pair of Nikes, 2 cell phones, 2 this, 2 this.
You didn't buy anything.
Okay. So now I get punished because I'm not money worthy. To keep them happy. It's all about money now. If I cherished them with money, it'd be a whole new different ballgame.
So the mommy dearest was out of the picture, and that led to Mr. Eggleston taking the twins in. But guess what? According to the sisters, the baby daddy agreed to this arrangement for a price. And he, of course, denied all this. Cue the chaos again.
Because I'm fussed at and cussed at, and
you feel they're disrespecting you now?
Yeah, I never speak to you again. You the sorriest dad in the world. I've been in their life for 18 years, 3 months, and 16 days.
All right.
Exactly.
Right.
So,
18 years, 3 months, and 3 days. What more else I got to prove? What else I got to prove?
So the father had real doubts about paternity, and they got serious when the twins were born. However, the sisters claimed that they had a skin condition that made them pale. But the baby daddy was still not convinced.
So in your mind, your doubts are getting validated. Is that what I'm understanding?
It was validated from day one because when I met her mother, it's on her birthday. When is your mother's birthday?
August 4th.
Add 9 months to that.
You give it to the court?
7 months.
Okay. So the babies were born 7 months after you met their mother. Okay.
Well, he wasn't convinced, and the Eggleston twins made it their mission to convince him. And for that very purpose, they had 2 witnesses. One ended up disclosing that there was indeed a John in the baby mama's life, while the grandma was fully supporting the kids. A family affair indeed.
Right, you say he's not the father after 18 years. He should have said this from the very beginning when the first month when Sophia died. That's what he should have said when the twins were born. And I don't want Grant to tell me ever again that he's not the father.
And that's true.
Enter a secret journal. Yup, the drama was going strong. But long story short, that journal belonged to Mr. Eggleston, and it was enlightening. Furthermore, the father's loud mouth landed him in quite some trouble.
They hurt and stuff that maybe I should,
But listen,
is that what they wanted?
Listen to me. Speak out of frustration, but you've got to understand that those words are daggers in their hearts. You get frustrated and you say something, but it affects how they feel about who they are.
I don't think before I talk.
Before you speak.
I got a bad habit of that.
Time to draw the curtains on this decades-long family affair. The Eggleston twins were desperate for answers, and the DNA queen had those ready to be rolled right out.
Mr. Eggleston, you are their father.
The plaintiff claimed the defendant was a man-child. The defendant claimed the plaintiff was a groupie. Miss Williams wanted Mr. Glover to grow up and take responsibility, while Mr. Glover wanted to wash his hands of baby Ralph and his mama.
You claim Mr. Glover is an irresponsible man-child who would rather play mind games than be a father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
You say Ms. Williams is a promiscuous groupie who hatched a complicated plan to trap you in order to cash in on your rap career. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
As soon as the judge asked to shed light on how these guys met, they were at each other's throats. Yup, Judge Lake could just look at them and buckle in for a long court proceeding. These guys lived in the same building, and that's how it began.
Well, I was doing videos in apartments that she was staying in. I'm a fireman at the time, the city, state to state, I'm everywhere. She played too many games.
He play a lot of games, Your Honor.
Stop trying to ride my fine, man. Just be real. You just trying to ride my fine.
Ride your fine. Nobody wants to ride. What rapper is you, Ralph?
I'm a rapper in the city, and I in city, state to state riding.
You're an irresponsible man who needs to man up and take care of your child.
The nature of their relationship was still a mystery. It got resolved, but gave birth to new questions. These guys didn't even wait to be asked before they started bickering like they weren't in the court, but in a fish market.
I still haven't gotten to the nature of this relationship.
The nature of this relationship, when we first met, we were friends.
You were friends.
After he discovered that I was something that he wanted, he took me off the market, knowing that I had a whole nother sugar daddy taking care of me.
Oh!
So it was established Miss Williams had sugar daddies. Yes, plural. But then she got together with Mr. Glover. Yep. However, when he played her, baby mama hopped back on the market. She liked being spoiled and missed that. On the other hand, the defendant was up to no good either.
His phone had called me numerous times with the moans and groans in the background talking about, baby, I love you, and so far on.
Wait, the moans and the groans in the background?
Of the sex communication.
Of the sex communication. Wait, how did you hear that?
His phone mistakenly called me.
Oh!
These guys had so much to talk about. Now, according to the plaintiff, when she got back to the market, she didn't have any sexual relations. But Mr. Glover didn't fall for this at all. And there they went, bickering again, and they would have continued had Judge Lake not stopped them.
Blue on, little bow, match your little tuxedo shirt.
She love this style. Like,
yeah, I love
Your
it.
Honor. He knew that he couldn't find no woman as good as me on the market. It's why he came crying back. He would have never put himself in a predicament to even be the father of Ralph Glover
You me around the hood.
Now, Mr. Glover brought a witness along. It was her sister, apparently, and she was specifically here to shed light on the relationship the baby mama had with the sugar daddy. And she was quite dramatic about it with the exhibit she brought with her.
She asked me, could I go by their place to pick her up some clothes? So I said, of course, yeah, I'll go by your house, send me the address. So I called her once I reached the hotel. So once she came out the front door, Jaleesa got into the vehicle. After she got her clothes off the back seat, I got to this edge, looked to the right. This is the vehicle that belongs to the man in question.
Oh, these guys were testing this court's patience for sure. And they had no idea what kind of drastic consequences that would bring. Finally, Judge Lake stopped their nonsensical bickering and got real with them. About time.
Y'all got so much to say. Kills me. They get up in this courtroom, all of a sudden everybody wanna have conversation with one another. If y'all were gonna do that, y'all should have had conversation about getting a DNA test and figuring out if the child's father is Mr. Glover or not, and you wouldn't even need to be here. The point is, you're saying, Mr. Glover, that for 10 months, this child is named after you.
This has gone on long enough. If it were left up to these guys, they would stay here arguing with each other for days. The judge didn't want that, so she went straight to the DNA results, along with losing her patience with them. Here we go.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Glover, you are the father.
So where's my apology? Clap on. I'm listening.
Hey, you gotta stop
You
lying.
gonna man up and apologize
I'm a
for
man
all
that
the
will take care of my
dying
baby,
of my child.
but that don't mean I'm still gonna be with you though.
For the longest time, the two sisters thought they lived a happy life. That was until their mother revealed a huge family secret that completely changed their lives. Miss Moore and her sister aren't stopping for suing their mother. And all for what?
So, how has your mother's revelation affected you?
I was a teenager, about 18. We was at my auntie Miriam's house, the one that's here. They was joking around like, you know, he's not your father and da-da-da-da-da. And I went and asked her about it, and she was like, yeah, you know, he ain't your father. He ain't your sister's father as well.
At least the mother, Miss Willis, admits to her mistakes. Who hides the identity of their father from her daughters? First up, Monica Moore talks about how when she was 18, her mother suddenly told her that Mr. Moore was his or her sister, Shawanda's dad. How did this affect Monica?
He's the only man that we ever knew. Even with my mother, like, my mother didn't get another boyfriend until after I was grown. So he's been here the whole time.
All their life.
The whole time.
Only father they know.
And that's how you plan to keep it.
Yes, I was.
So this entire situation was by design.
Right.
Turns out Miss Willis wanted to take this secret to her grave. She never wanted her children to find out the truth. But her sister ended up ruining everything by telling the girls they looked nothing like Mr. Moore. Miss Willis was with Mr. Moore for 27 years. So, did she have an affair?
I had an affair.
You had an affair.
So she said it was a one-night stand.
It was a one-night stand.
Our relatives, it was an ongoing
that's
situation.
That's what she always go wrong. Listen
Out
to other people instead of her mother.
Well, you never told us anything. We wouldn't be here today. If they
If you
wouldn't
wouldn't have brought me here, I wouldn't be here at all.
But the truth should set you free.
Despite knowing another man was Monica's father, Miss Willis lied to Mr. Moore and said the girl was his. This woman didn't even bother to tell the other man he might be the father. Hearing this crushes Monica. She feels robbed of a bond with her true father.
What are you crying for?
We in this
That's your
situation.
daddy.
Yeah, he's my father. What if he not?
not?
You saying that he not? You saying that he not my father?
If it turns out really the way you're saying that he is not her biological father, will you introduce her to her biological father?
Do I get that, at least that right?
Yes.
Once Miss Willis's sister is asked at the stand, Judge Lauren asks her if she knows the identity of this secret man. The sister immediately confesses who it is. Did the sister do the right thing by telling her nieces the truth? Or was it Miss Willis's burden to carry?
Do you know who Monica's father is?
Yeah.
knows
She been
what you're
knowing
talking
for a
about.
long time. She ain't just met this man. She been knowing this man. I always tell her to tell him. Why don't you tell him before they get too old? Now they in their 30s and 20s, and she's still standing up there like she don't know what I'm talking about. This ain't the first time we had this conversation.
Got nothing.
We had it all the time. All of us get together and say, why don't you tell them who their daddy is?
The same thing happened with Shawanda. Miss Willis straight up told her that Mr. Moore wasn't her father either. But the sad thing is how Miss Willis told Monica first and withheld the secret from Shawanda. When the results are revealed, will these girls get to see their real daddy?
It has been determined by this court. You are not her father.
I'm still the daddy.
It has been determined by this court. You are her father.
Miss Tucker shows up with her 1-year-old kid, Keandre, and tells the judge she's not sure if Keandre's daddy is some guy she was messing around with or Miss Mosley's deceased son. And wait for it, she's also suing grieving Miss Mosley for $3,800 in Social Security benefits. Talk about bad timing.
So, you know what I'm saying, I was sleeping with two people at the same time, but it was more frequent. And when I met him, I remember the exact date as if it was yesterday. I met him February the 6th. From February 6th all the way from the 14th through the whole month, I was having sex with Mr. Andrews more frequent than I was with the person I was with. On March the 16th, I went and found out I was pregnant.
The judge, trying to keep things spicy, asks Miss Mosley if there's a tiny chance her late son could be the dad. Miss Mosley, drowning in grief, sighs and says she's here for answers. Then the judge drops the bomb and asks why she's got doubts.
My son never mentioned Miss Tucker. He was very open with me. But who is Miss Cleo Tucker? He never mentioned her.
And so it's your feeling that my son has been honest with me about so many things. That confirms maybe that your son had the doubt and you have the doubt as well.
Yes.
Here's the scoop. Miss Tucker spills the beans about her pregnancy to both possible baby daddies. Mr. Andrews, one of the contenders, takes his sweet time to visit after the baby pops out. Miss Mosley, on the other hand, hears about the pregnancy through her son's friend. Well, if that was true, poor mother had to have doubts.
His friends called me Auntie Vonda. And he said, Auntie Vonda, you know Cleo is about to give birth to Eric's child. And I was like, who is Cleo Tucker?
He used to call my mama's phone and check on me. Hey, is Cleo okay? Send me some ultrasound pictures, but I ignored him.
Well, it's like Miss Tucker gave Miss Mosley a ring-a-ding after the baby's debut. But Mr. Andrews was slower than a snail at a sprint to meet the tot. And now, Miss Mosley thinks Miss Tucker's after money. She waved social media pics like a magician pulling rabbits from a hat. Talk about a three-ring circus.
I'm looking on Instagram, finding pictures like these of my son and her son together, and I'm not even sure if he is his. And she's not the first one to come forth claiming that her child is my son.
So, Miss Tucker, the money maestro, starts listing all her baby's expenses, like a kid's budget report. She looks at Miss Mosley with those puppy dog eyes, asking for cash. But hold on, Miss Mosley isn't buying it. She's like, show me the receipts. Oh man, what a classic show.
After I had my baby, that's when I got in contact with Miss Mosley. We on the phone. She like, oh, nice to meet you. She heard about me through the friend that was correct, and I told her about Kendra. She said, well, Mr. Andrews just got out of jail or whatever. I don't have time to be sitting here trying to take care of you when you in jail when nobody's helping me with my baby. That's why he denied my child, because I didn't help him.
Well, one thing was certain, the alleged baby daddy was gone, and his mother was in trouble indeed. As she said to herself that she was here for some answers, so were we. How about fast forwarding to those DNA results after hearing both sides?
It has been determined that Mr. Andrews is the biological father.
I was right.
That's all I wanted to know.
You look happy.
I am. I still have a piece of him.
The court session begins with Miss Heiser accusing her ex-husband, Mr. Onby, of being a deadbeat dad who abandoned their daughter for almost 20 years. Mr. Onby claims that Miss Heiser was unfaithful, and he doubts that their daughter, Gabby, is his biological child.
He's never been there for Gabrielle since birth, physically, financially, and every term a father should be. In the beginning, when I first met him, he seemed like a stand-up guy. Within the first year, we decided to get married. I had found out I was pregnant and told him. He was happy at first, told his friends and family. Within a few months, it started to deteriorate.
The judge gets all in Miss Heiser's face, questioning her about the supposed street encounter. But she's having none of it, firmly denying it ever happened. Then she spills the beans about breaking the baby news to Mr. Onby. At first, he's all smiles, but soon enough, their relationship goes south faster than milk left out in the sun.
I was notified that she was in labor. I was drinking. Yeah, I shot down there and I watched her born. I wasn't signing the birth certificate because I already knew once you sign the birth certificate, you are the father, and I had doubts of me being the father due to the conversation me and this other guy had.
So you didn't sign the birth certificate?
No, ma'am. The judge becomes quite the detective, noticing Mr. Onby's name snugly nestled on Gabby's birth certificate, even though he didn't bother signing it. Why? Well, because they were all lovey-dovey in marriage back then. Then, Gabby unloads her feelings of resentment toward her dear old dad, who conveniently missed out on all her life's greatest hits. Quite the parenting now, huh?
I don't know. I have a lot of resentment towards him because he could have been there. He could have been the one to take me to my daddy-daughter dance, or be there for my kindergarten graduation, or be there for my prom, or...
Talk to him. Let him know how that felt.
Or to know that you're taking care of so many other kids, but you can't even take care of your one and only kid, like your one and only daughter.
Mr. Onby, the master of justification, tries to explain why he had doubts about being a dad and why he made a swift exit from the family. He unveils his ace in the hole, some evidence supposedly proving Miss Heiser's infidelity. Ooh, the suspense! It's like a soap opera, but with more finger-pointing.
I have snapshots off Facebook. Gabrielle was telling this other man that he was the father and that she knew he was her daddy.
Do you recognize that post?
I don't. I recognize the picture. I remember the picture.
Who is this man? And you're saying it's my daddy?
A family friend.
Gabby shares a twist. She tells how one of her family members kept hammering home that the man in the photo was her true dad, creating a real puzzle in her head. Then Miss Heiser spices it up, mentioning that Mr. Onby supposedly has a whopping $100,000 child support bill hanging over his head.
This all boils down, Your Honor. He doesn't want to pay child support. He owes me over $90,000.
Child
support for 19 That's what this is all about. Of course
I'm asking Gabby what she told.
Where? Because I'd like to see the money.
I paid 20-something thousand in child support last summer. Come on with it.
Listen, what I'm concerned about at this very moment that everybody just seems to want to...
At long last, the judge delivers the much-anticipated DNA results. As the couple was in a state of confusion and misery, the courtroom practically crackles with anticipation as we're on the verge of unveiling the ultimate truth. Buckle up, folks. It's time to find the facts among the fiction.
Mr. Onby, you are the father. I can see you truly shocked.
Yes, ma'am.
This has been going on for 19 years.
So, there's Miss Thompson and Mr. Smithbay. She's saying he ran away from her and their 2 kids, Legend and Radiance. And now she's all about the DNA tests for those little ones and wants Mr. Smithbay to chip in for the child-raising bills. He's like, I wasn't even with her.
You say it wasn't a relationship.
Just a sexual relationship, basically.
I'm hurting. Not only for my kids, but for me, like, he's saying we was never together, but he was living with me in my home. His clothes was there, he had a key to my house. I was taking him back and forth to work and everything.
Were you staying at her house, Mr. Smithbay?
At one point in time, yes, I was. I stayed there for a few months on and off.
Miss Thompson spills the beans about how Legend was brought into the world and her persistent attempts to involve Mr. Smithbay. But wait, Mr. Smithbay becomes a detective with his proof of shoulder width and ear shapes to question Legend's parentage. It's like a courtroom sitcom in the making.
I came over once and actually someone was, and I felt like maybe he was the father because he was there playing the father role.
How did you know that person was playing the daddy role? When you came, they left?
When I came, he left, like she told him, okay, go ahead and leave. Like when she seen me, for what reason, I don't know.
He got up and left on his own, and we also was outside on my porch. Legend was already born.
Well, here's what went down. Mr. Smithbay confesses he's in another relationship and never truly committed to Miss Thompson. Then they start talking about Legend's bond with Mr. Smithbay. Miss Thompson accuses him of using the kids when it suits him. Drama alert!
And it's not my fault. I haven't seen them. She told me to stop coming around. So if you don't want me to come to your house, I'm not going to come there.
You told him to stop coming around?
Because I don't want to be with him because he don't want to be faithful to me. I don't want to be with him. I don't want him to come to my house because when he's around, it's only something sexual. I want more out of life. I don't want to be with a man and just have sex with him.
Mr. Smithbay steps up and says Miss Thompson pushed him away when she needed space. Then the judge throws in their 2 cents, pointing out that their commitment issues are as clear as mud, and it's the kids who might end up in the crossfire. Drama, drama, drama.
This is my shoulder when 44 inches wide. My other children, they have 14 inches wide shoulder length. Legend is 8.5 inches wide. He doesn't have broad shoulders at all, so therefore, that's why I feel like he's not mine.
He too.
Broad shoulders running.
He's not
the family.
10.
Jerome, I think this is the first time.
The debate over Radiance's physical resemblance to Mr. Smithbay and doubts about her paternity rages on. Then, the judge throws a curveball by mentioning that both children call Mr. Smithbay daddy, adding a hefty dose of confusion to the mix. It's a real-life soap opera in that courtroom.
When you found out you were pregnant with Radiance?
He told me I was pregnant. We was having sex at the time.
That's not true.
And the time we were having sex, I didn't want to finish the act because I didn't want to get pregnant again. He told me it's too late for that because you're already pregnant.
How I know she pregnant? I'm not a doctor. I can't tell if she's pregnant. When she got pregnant with Radiance, we weren't even having sex like that at all.
Hold on tight for some courtroom drama. Miss Thompson disputes Mr. Smithbay's claims, airs her frustration, and drops a $2,000 per child-rearing expense bomb. The judge talks about commitment and loyalty issues. Oh boy, this case was like a legal marathon on steroids.
It is sad because it's a product of a sexual relationship with no commitment. So you
thought I was being committed. And I wasn't having sex with any other man, period.
That's what she telling me.
But how did I know you come to my house, you pop up whenever you feel like you was caught them a couple times looking outside my window.
I came to see my kids.
But you saying these not your kids.
The judge drops a bombshell. First, she makes it clear that they must confirm paternity before diving into child-rearing expenses. And then, at the edge of your seat, the judge announces the results of the DNA test. Wasn't that the cliffhanger?
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Smithbay, you are the father. I told you I saw the ears.
Well, folks, here we go. Mr. Portovecchio was on a mission to unveil some family secrets, or so he says. He's pointing fingers at Miss Touche and her daughter, Miss Lutz, claiming they pulled off a sneaky $150,000 settlement scam after his dear old dad passed away. He's even questioning whether Miss Lutz is blood related.
My father was on a tugboat working, and he drowned, and accidental death is what it's said on his, it's declared as accidental death, drowned.
So let me understand, your father at the time was married to?
My mom.
Me. Miss Touche.
Miss Touche steps into the ring and fires back. She's denying those fraud claims and tells about the name change. Apparently, it was all about Social Security benefits, not some grand scheme. She also points fingers at the hospital's last name rules on birth certificates.
I have never heard that I was not a Porvecchio until I got into it on Facebook. She actually met my mom at Mardi Gras and begged her to let us back in her life, which she did.
Yes, I did.
And then when we were at a restaurant celebrating my brother's birthday, she walks right past us at the restaurant on my brother's birthday like she didn't know us with her parents. Do you remember that?
Oh boy, things are getting messier in the court. Miss Touche has to explain where these doubts about her family's fidelity came from, and she blames it on some co-worker incident. But hey, she's not admitting to any hanky-panky, no siree. Then we've got Miss Cortez chiming in, backing up the family's doubts and pointing fingers at that mysterious co-worker incident.
The reason, as far as them separating, my brother and Laura, is that my brother walked in on her having an affair.
Oh my God! How would you know something like that? Your Honor, I'd like to explain that lie.
It was told
okay?
by my brother. I was 21 years old.
Dawn, you just need to stop lying and be done with that.
Okay, so the court wasn't buying those doubts about Miss Touche's fidelity, and they want a clear timeline of events. Miss Touche clarifies about her past with Mr. Porvecchio Sr. and how her family was all up in their business. She even mentions dragging a co-worker to Mr. Porvecchio Sr.'s funeral. Now, that's one way to add a twist to a family gathering.
There was doubt from my father, thinking that Taurine was actually for him. But he did love Lori. Touche. He did love her.
Of course he did. He married her and had 2 children with her.
And so you're saying that there was always rumors or discussion in the family
My father
that your
always-
father
Rumors
doubted
came
whether
out.
or not Ms. Lutz was truly his child.
Oh, the courtroom saga rages on. Miss Cortez and Miss Lutz are dissecting family reactions, and Miss Lutz is none too pleased with her doubting brother. Then Miss Touche dives into the co-worker relationship, trying to set the record straight. But Miss Cortez is sticking to her guns, keeping those doubts about fidelity front and center.
I grew up without a dad, and that was hard enough. And then when I grew up without his memories, his childhood, I didn't have that because they took that from me. They took that and all of his belongings.
Your mother took that
and
from
didn't
you.
give them back to me. Didn't let me have anything from my dad. And now they're taking my brother from me just because they have so much hatred.
The courtroom spectacle continues. Miss Cortez drops a bombshell, claiming Miss Lutz was once part of the Porvecchio crew, until family separation rocked the boat. The court, ever the voice of reason, takes a moment to reflect on the long-standing family drama fueled by rumors and that hefty settlement. It's like a never-ending roller coaster of family feuds and courtroom chaos.
It's hearsay. It's things that I've heard on my side of my father's family.
That's not
So how much money did Ms. Touche receive? Do you remember, Ms. Touche?
Yes, ma'am. I have a copy of the settlement check here. It was for $325,000.
The judge recognizes the everlasting family discord and underscores the urgency of relying on DNA test results to finally put this turmoil to rest. The tension builds, and at last, the much-anticipated moment arrives as the DNA test results are revealed. The truth, it seems, is about to be laid bare for all to see.
Mr. Porvecchio and Ms. Lutz are siblings.
Thank you.
told
Keep up
you.
the lies, Ricky.
I told
Keep
you.
them up. You ruined our
Now you're
relationship with
done.
their lies.
You're done, Ricky.
Thank you very much, Dawn.
You the one that wanted this.
No, I wanted it
shouldn't
to
have
show
brought it
you.
out.
I
You
wanted
brought
to show
it
you
out.
we
And
never
you
had this
got
problem
exactly
until they
what
got in the
you
middle of
deserve.
us.
Shaky trust could be a real marriage killer, as you see in this case. The family was in jeopardy of being torn apart. Ms. Cleveland stepped up in the court to prove the paternity of her son. Meanwhile, the defendant claimed that his wife was an unfaithful and sore liar, and he had concrete evidence to doubt the paternity of baby Hunter.
Miss Cleveland, you say your 18-month marriage is in jeopardy because your husband denies he's your son Hunter's biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
You have good reason to doubt Hunter is yours. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
On with the trial, their happy family took a wishy-washy turn when doubts intervened in their marriage during the procession, and this made the man treat the baby differently. But sir, what was the mistake of a little baby in all this mess?
We argue on the daily. I see him treating our son differently than he does his daughter, and it bothers me inside.
I try not to treat him any differently. I try to treat him like he's mine. It's a little hard sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, Your Honor. I mean, there's that thought there that he is not mine, and that makes a person really emotionally upset. There are times that I'm holding him and I look at him and...
So the paternity doubt has permeated the fabric of their marriage terribly because his wife had cheated on him multiple times. He had caught her messing with other dudes. However, baby mama seemed comfortable with all the claims like this.
Yes, Your Honor, it does. I mean, like she said, I feel like I'm living a lie, Your Honor. You know, I've been lied to and cheated on, you know.
Your Honor, I've never
like...
cheated on him.
Oh.
I left him before I ever did anything with any other man.
Okay, so the text and everything behind my back isn't cheating. I consider that cheating. Sexy messages like, I miss you, I love you.
Oh my! Even though the woman confessed to engaging in sexual activity with another man, she yet stated that she had never cheated on her husband. This triggered Judge Lake, so she corrected the mommy like this.
My wife's a cheater. I don't know if this little guy is mine or not.
I didn't cheat on him.
Who are you texting?
He was an old friend of mine from school.
But isn't that cheating of some form? Isn't that
it
at
is.
least
It is,
emotional
John.
cheating?
I washed my hands with the whole situation. I was ready for a divorce, and he wants to be husband of the world, you know? He wanted to be a perfect husband.
Further, the potential dad claimed that mommy kept everything secret until the baby was born. And right after the birth, she dropped the bomb of another possibility on him. Oh geez, that's emotional damage, cause she took advantage of him.
There was a possibility he wouldn't have been mine.
Did you go to the birth?
Yes, ma'am. I was there right after he came out. I was there beside him while they were cleaning him off. I was the first person to hold him. I was the first person to get to take him to his mother. I mean, it was a very joyous time in my life. I didn't leave his side for 2, almost 3 hours.
Wow, this woman's got some nerve. Mr. Cleveland contended that while they were having fun with the baby, the mommy decided to spoil everything by puking the truth regarding her sexual relationship with her hubby's friend.
We were sitting at the house playing with Hunter. It just kind of came out. She looked at me and she said, Adam, there's something I have to tell you. And I said, what is it? And she said, I slept with one of your friends around the time of conception and there's a chance that he's not yours. I want you to know that, and I think we may need to get a paternity test.
Miss Cleveland disclosed to gain the love and attention that her husband was not giving her, she brought another man into the picture. She said that she accepted his friend just for a better lifestyle. That's so mean.
I was involved in church every Sunday. I wasn't out running the streets like I was with my husband. At the time, I was doing something with myself.
You were going to church every Sunday and you end up sleeping with your husband's friend?
No, Your Honor.
Your Honor, that's not true.
I was at a down and out point in my life, and I was in a financial crisis,
not true.
and she liked the fact that he had more money.
Nevertheless, the wife asserted that the ongoing bickering with her husband made her look back into her past and allowed the man to come to her present. But the man tapped into the messages on her phone while she was sleeping.
From the time we wake up to the time we go to sleep, and he was at work, I had gotten a message from this guy that I'd been friends with since 7th grade, talking about how beautiful I was, just saying all the right things to me, just made me feel wonderful about myself. I made the mistake of going to see him. When we were sitting there talking, it just happened. We kissed, and I felt horrible about it. I felt like a gross person inside. I got in my car and I left.
Finally, to clear up this awful situation, Judge Lake decided to read the lie detector test results. So let's watch how the results turned out to be. Did they bring more turmoil? Or did they bring some sort of relief for the daddy?
If you had sexual intercourse with the man you admitted kissing recently, you said no. The lie detector determined that was the truth.
It was evident that Miss Cleveland's deceiving had brought this couple to a vulnerable point and made the poor man's life miserable. And the only way they could move forward with this paternity havoc was to disclose whatever the DNA envelope was holding. So, let's get those results.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Cleveland,
yes, sir.
You are not the father.
Care and love is taken too far this time. Mr. Jones and his mother offered their house as a shelter to the defendant and her 6 kids. But instead of being grateful, she caused them more trouble by pinning her new baby on them. Fed up with all the drama, his response was denial, and he also sued her for $1,500 for housing and childcare expenses.
You and your mother are co-plaintiffs who have brought the defendant, Ms. Mylan, to court to prove her 3-month-old son, Quanil Jr., is not your biological child.
Regarding their disbelief, Ms. Jones shared that she had contacted the court for a test after 3 days of the baby's birth because she saw her son's emotions at the hospital and didn't want him to go through a heartbreak. So to understand the reaction, the judge asked about their relationship.
I noticed him. She was like, this Mr. Jones, he lived next door. We started, just on a friendly note, hey, how you doing? We'll sit down, we'll talk, laugh, joke. I go back in, tend to my kids. Eventually he started I could tell it was a little more flirting going on. He'd be like, why don't you come watch a movie sometime or,
Casual relationships are fine. It happens. But sleeping with 2 men at the same time is already an alarming situation. Upon this, Mr. Jones shared that he tried to make it exclusive, but she chose her ex over him. Then, about pregnancy, Miss Mylan said that the plaintiff claimed that he couldn't become a father, and baby daddy had to explain himself.
Because I used to play sports in school or whatever, so I had have a full body physical, and they told me that I wasn't able to have kids.
So during a physical, they told you were unable to have children?
Yes, ma'am.
So the doubt arrives here. Moreover, her claim of $1,500 is right. After all, they provided for Miss Mylan and her kids. Now it's time to pay them back. Investigating their relationships, it was found out that while she was living in their house, Mr. Jones had started dating his ex. And with this information, the whole dynamic of relationships turned into confusion.
Like you said, I'm young. It's a big age difference. I started getting I got a little stressed out. You know what I'm saying? It's 6 kids. I got frustrated. I ain't gonna lie. It started to get to me.
I have to go to work. So I'm calling him. I'm like, where are you? Where are you? I have to go to work. And he was like, he wasn't answering at first. And I was getting mad.
Why did you invite her to your house when you couldn't handle the stress? Then, talking about the pregnancy, Mr. Jones said that, along with Miss Mylan's ex, he was aware of his possibility as well. Upon this, Mama Jones shared the advice she gave them to stop future kids.
When I found out she stopped taking the birth control, the first thing I done was I gave my son some condoms because she has 6 kids already and I know she's fertile.
Did you use them, Mr. Jones?
No. I want to be there. I don't want to miss nothing. I want to be able to go back and tell these stories and say I was there doing this, doing that. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
When he was being born.
Both mother and son have been very responsible and caring towards Miss Mylan and her kids. Now, she shouldn't trap them in paternity like this. Next, Mr. Jones revealed that he didn't sign the birth certificate because of the doubt, and his mother agreed to his decision.
When I say he cried, he literally broke down at this hospital. He literally cried and broke down because he was gonna be devastated, and I felt his pain. I could literally feel his pain. That's why I contacted the court to help us, because I wanted him to be sure.
And when you say he isn't sure?
My brother passed in July the 16th of last year.
Well, that was a smart move. He doesn't have to pay child support for 18 years. But still, the mama and son were caring enough to spend so much money on Miss Mylan's kids. Now, the judge only asked the co-plaintiffs about their hopes for today, and they both were still positive for the future.
I pray.
We've been taking care of this child since the day he came out, Joe.
I love him.
And I will continue to do that. He's saying, Mama, this is my baby. That means me as a grandmother, I'm supposed to step up and take up where he's falls short.
I feel like me and her kids had a relationship before I even met her. So they used to watch me play ball. I used to teach them how to play ball and stuff like this. So
the mama and son played their part very well in Miss Mylan and her kid's life. But still, it can't hide the fact that there's doubt around the baby's paternity, and it was important to know the truth so that Mr. Jones and his mother could have peace in their lives, and the baby could have his real parents in his life.
You are not the father. I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry. I didn't know.
Yeah,
I'm ready to go.
I'm sorry. Why you saying?
The defendant's 1-month-old daughter was strongly denied by Mr. Harrington because he claimed that his sexual relationship with Miss Day ended before she became pregnant, and his uncertainty was very valid. So to find out the real father, the DNA test was our only solution.
You say your sexual relationship with the defendant ended before she got pregnant. You say you would never attempt to pin a baby on a man without being sure he is the father. You believe the DNA results will put an end to all of the rumors.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Harrington testified that she was a very promiscuous person, and the only reason she pinned her baby on him was because he was a good father to her other children, and just listening to this, the defendant had a bold comeback comment to shut him up.
There's no other possibilities. I have not been messing around with anybody else throughout the time that we were messing around.
So you are 100% positive Mr. Harrington is your child's biological father?
Considering it just started, that was a very bold claim. Even I had difficulty processing it. Then, about the conceiving period, Miss Day said that she broke up with him in September. But one day, due to a medical issue with their other child, something happened in the hospital.
So she was in and out of the hospital. When we was in the hospital, we did it. I really do believe that's the day that I
At the hospital?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
yes,
we did it at the
ma'am.
hospital. I ain't gonna lie. It wasn't in November.
I also didn't get pregnant in November neither.
Okay.
I didn't conceive in November.
I never understood how people managed to do this kind of stuff in the hospital. Next, the plaintiff said that he didn't find out about the pregnancy from her, but surprisingly, an anonymous texter told him the news, which created doubt for him.
How your baby mama pregnant and her and your sister hiding it from you? It might be guy number 1 baby though. So you just an anonymous tipper, huh? You questioned this at first.
On the way back from work.
Can't tell you who I am. She won't tell me nothing else, and she was blanking guy number 2. That's how you found out she was pregnant. Never mind guy number 1 and guy number 2.
Yeah.
That's actually a scary way to find out about your baby. And sure, it's gonna create suspicion in everyone's mind. Then, Mr. Harrington shared that his sister confirmed this information, and when he tried calling Miss Day, she didn't pick up his call. And upon this, the plaintiff quickly defended herself.
On a regular basis, I don't answer the call.
She do ignore my call.
For him to say that I was trying to hide, I didn't pick up the phone or
But you
something
never told
like
me
that.
you was pregnant though.
I did tell you I was pregnant.
No, you didn't. I found out in January.
I found out in January too. That's when I found out that I was pregnant.
So all them missed periods and you.
There's a lot of confusion about the dates, and it seems hard to get to the bottom of it. Then, Miss Day testified that she dated other guys, but it all happened before pregnancy. And asking about his responsibilities, the plaintiff was proud to be present during birth.
I was saying to myself, okay, if I am a possible father, I don't want to have missed the birth. So I was keeping it real with myself.
I knew that he was gonna always be there.
I am gonna always be there for my child, but you can't be pinning, you know what I'm saying? You trying to pin this child on me.
So you showed up for the birth?
No.
You didn't sign a birth certificate, but you wanted to give her your last name?
It's always sad to see fathers being present in the hospital for birth, but later deny the kid so easily. Then, the defendant's witness was brought in, and she boldly exposed Mr. Harrington, saying that he denied the baby to save his current relationship.
He don't want to go home to his mama, because he hopped from,
well, you still there.
Oh, that's what I
you irrelevant.
But I'm still here.
But she don't
even know
she don't know.
You believe this is an entire concocted story because he doesn't want to break up with his now girlfriend.
Because he don't have no job. When he get with a girl, he moves in with the girl.
Now that could be a reason he denied the baby, because he's scared of his girlfriend. But Mr. Harrington was not ready to lose, as he brought up the conception calendar to prove his claim. And it was interesting, because it did point out that his doubts were right.
What Mr. Harrington says is true in the sense that if the due date was the 3rd, your conception date window would be around that 2nd week of November.
When you look at stuff like that, they don't put up in there that you're actually pregnant for 40 weeks. They don't calculate like that.
Yes, they do.
No, they don't.
Both parties were crazily fighting over their testimonies, calling each other liars. But if they had been responsible, they wouldn't be standing here. And now, to bring out the real father, the judge had to open the envelope to close the case.
You are not the father.
What?
Told you,
Are
bro.
you serious?
Told you, can I Millie Rock?
No, you can't.
Sorry, my bad.
No, you can't. You know why?
This ain't
Because you
mine.
have another child with her, so you're not gonna clown in here.
Okay.
Because that's acting a fool, and that's what I don't do.
What would you do if your normal scrolling led you to your wife's sex tape? When his wife's adultery was discovered, Mr. Brown found himself before Judge Lake's court. He intended to show that another man was the biological father of his spouse's child with his broken trust. Let's see how they came to the brink of falling apart.
You testify that his paternity denial is tearing you apart. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
One day, the girls, they like snatching her phone. They grabbed her phone before they came against the video. I grabbed it.
So, it was apparent that this paternity mix had disrupted their marriage, as the mommy could not hold back her tears. It turned out that the plaintiff also did not even know about her baby's paternity, but she was praying for a miracle to happen. Or the defendant claimed that the baby's appearance was evidence of his support.
I just hope that he's the father of Amira Brown.
That you really don't know, but you truly hope.
Yes.
More and more every day, I see Amira's face and his face, and it bothers me a lot.
Oh gosh, I don't understand who on earth wrecks their own house like this. Further, it slipped out that while going through his wife's phone, Mr. Brown caught a blue video. Ugh, why would someone leave shady proof of adultery on their phone?
They like snatching her phone, so they grabbed her phone before they came against the video. I grabbed it and it pressed play, and I seen the beginning of the video, and I didn't see what I liked, so I just disclosed it. I didn't watch the whole video.
Because you knew it was something inappropriate.
Yeah, it didn't look right. It didn't look right. It looked like a video, so.
Miss McKinney admitted the claims and stated that their on and off again marriage status made her step out of the marriage not only for one time. Yet she blamed the man in all of this mess. No, ma'am. Put aside your sham show.
At the time, me and Mr. Brown was off and on. I met him on a dating website. We started talking online, and then I finally met him in person, and he came to my house.
So how often were you sexually active with this man?
10 times.
However, Judge Lake summoned the other potential father. Mr. Fowler asserted that he hit the plaintiff on the dating site, but when they came along, he met her husband as well. Still, she bamboozled him about her marriage. It was hilarious that he didn't even know her last name.
We was talking on the dating site, and the day I met her, Mr. Brown was present, but they wasn't together. But I seen them face to face.
The day you met her in person?
Yes.
He was there?
Yes. She said that she just got out of a relationship and that they was done.
All right.
Further, it was disclosed that baby mama informed both men about her pregnancy, and the downer was that baby Amira's paternity was shady, as the woman was sleeping with both men at the same time. So, you can never know for sure when things like this happen.
Me and Miss McKinney met up, and she told me she was pregnant in June of 2017.
What did she tell you exactly?
That she's pregnant and she's ready to give birth.
So who did she say the father was?
She didn't tell me
I
nothing.
said it was complicated.
I believe it was complicated because, like I said,
I was back and forth with him and him.
That sex
back and
tape
forth.
was April 9th, and Amira was born April 9th.
It was revealed that Mr. Brown was present at the birth, yet there was no name on the baby's birth certificate. Miss McKinney alleged that she did not let her husband sign the birth certificate because she wanted to save him. Huh? Save him from what, Missy? You've already drowned him with your swindling nature.
I get public assistance. They're gonna try to hit him with child support.
But you all were legally married. Be on the hook for child support if you're legally married.
I didn't want him to sign a birth certificate.
It is complicated.
The defendant asserted that he could not accept the baby girl due to her appearance. Even people on social media gave them red flags about the baby's paternity. Felt like Daddy had prepared a research project for his denial.
When I was born, I was pale. But wait, look at her lip. Why does her lip look so fat? That's not my lip. My lip does not look like that. Oh, no, it does not. I put it in my head. I'm like, wait, okay. So, and my family was saying that she looks like me because my deceased father that passed away, they said that Amira has my dad.
Despite the deceiving facts, it turned out that Mr. Fowler got out the window of conception, and the plaintiff alleged that in her heart, she believed that her husband was the father. This sounded fishy to Judge Lake, so she hopped in like this.
Mario Brown's the father of Amira.
So why did you tell Mr. Fowler you were pregnant at all? If this had
I told both of them
ended-
I was pregnant, but he didn't know I was pregnant before he found
Well, why? I mean, if it's over with him and it's done, if you hadn't been with him for an entire year, he's out of the picture. Why tell him you're pregnant?
I have no clue.
Stepping out of the marriage to find the love and affection you desire is not a fair move. It was evident that Miss McKinney's promiscuity had ultimately led these people into this paternity run, and the last call to resolve this mess was to declare results. So, let's get to them.
You are not the father. McKinney, are you okay? Jerome, help her. Jerome, help her.
Miss Robinson has been a constant victim of cheating by his boyfriend. Even after all the accusations, she was still standing in court to prove to the defendant that he fathered her twins. However, Mr. Smith had decided that he would leave this relationship for good once proven right. To give them their answers, a DNA test is needed.
You claim you are 100% certain that your boyfriend, Mr. Smith, is the father of your 2-month-old twins, Khalil and Keziah. You say you are tired of his constant cheating accusations and hope today's results will help save your family.
Yes, Your Honor.
The plaintiff said they've been together for 2.5 years, and now their relationship was in turmoil. To everyone's surprise, he accused her of cheating with everybody and his mama. Mama? How can you cheat on your mother? Then the defendant explained how he got to this stupidity.
Have you been accusing her of sleeping with everybody?
I don't accuse her of sleeping with everybody and her mama. It's only certain people I accuse her of sleeping.
What's going on in the relationship?
Well, one situation, Your Honor, it's a neighbor upstairs. She came and got me from work one day. He would confront me about a parking spot.
I can't help but laugh at his assumptions. Then the defendant shared another dubious fact that an anonymous letter praised his girlfriend's moans. Oof, that's a big one. How would someone know this beautiful detail? So the plaintiff defended herself with a logical point.
No, how do he know how she moan? I mean, what's going on with that
We stay in the family fat. What is you talking about? This one is paper thin, okay?
Maybe this guy could hear you all having sex in your house because it's a 2-family flat or they're right there.
That's exactly what happens.
Of course, your thin walls can't keep all the moaning in, which was quite a problem. But the defendant kept on and told that she boldly flirted with his best friend and that he often visited her behind his back. This one was one big accusation, and the plaintiff was asked to explain herself.
Flirted my face.
No,
in my face, they flirted my face.
I have never flirted with this man. I
Laughing,
barely even
giggling,
know him. He don't even want me to
much.
be around his friends because
I be
he's
feeling
so
uncomfortable
insecure.
sometimes. If you walking with people, she supposed to walk with me. She walking with him.
Oh my God.
There's been certain situations like I'm trying to figure out what's going on.
Oh, this man goes crazy for accusations. Then the judge asked Mr. Smith for solid proof against his cheating girlfriend and shared that he got incarcerated for 2 weeks, and after the next week, she told him about being pregnant. Next, the judge discussed the conception dates.
You went to jail over some parking tickets.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. You were released on the 3rd, and then 1 week later on the 10th, she said she was 2 weeks pregnant.
Yes.
You were in jail for the parking ticket.
Yes, and that's why I have doubt.
During this window of time, she was with somebody else.
Yes.
Okay, you got the dates wrong, and his only proof was gone as well. Now where do you stand, mister? So the judge asked the plaintiff about the birth, and she said that he was present there, but told her mama that babies don't resemble him. To this, Mr. Smith expressed his doubts.
You refused to sign the birth certificate or you signed it?
I ain't signed anything. I told her I wasn't signing no birth certificate since I know these kids mine. She gonna tell me that our oldest daughter that I got that I love dearly, if you don't sign these birth certificates, you might as well take your name off her birth certificate and leave and get out her life. So I signed the birth certificates on the stand of that she gonna take my daughter out of my life.
This man is going crazy over resembling his kids with everyone in the neighborhood but him. At least stay in your senses in the court. After the defendant asserted his best friend as the potential father, the judge asked Mr. Fuller to testify in this situation.
Have you been showing up over that house while Mr. Smith was at work?
All right, first off, it was one time. And that's because when I get off work, I want to go party. He don't pick up his phone most of the time, so I pull up over there. His insecurities is starting to get annoying. Because I can't even be left alone with it. I can't do nothing.
Okay, we got it covered. He's delusional for no reason. But the judge asked the best friend straight about being intimate with the plaintiff, and he denied it. Moreover, he also shared another clowning story in which the defendant was the real clown.
Y'all playing footsies under the table?
Yes, you did. What are you talking about?
He grabs the baby, bring him over there, put him up to my face, like, see, he look just like him. This ain't my baby.
He don't
look just like him?
Yes, he held my son.
You hold the baby up to Mr. Fuller's face?
Yes, I did that, Your Honor.
I shouldn't be laughing over this, but this man is a petty entertainer. After all the testimony, the plaintiff expressed relief and said she was done with all these accusations, and the judge, without a word, called for the results.
You are the father.
I'm feeling like, man, I'm just feeling relieved. We going through a lot of stuff and a lot of, glad that these my babies and we can get this over with.
Fame and pride can make you crazy and loathful when you are too obsessed with yourself. Mr. Haskell was standing here denying a baby with the plaintiff after 9 months. He was sure that this move was played to get lifetime support from his rising wealth. To get to the truth, we need a DNA test.
Your ex-boyfriend, Mr. Haskell, that he fathered your 9-month-old daughter, Blair. Is that correct?
Yes.
Mr. Haskell, you claim you're a successful R&B singer, and you say Miss Connolly is pinning her baby on you because you're famous.
Yes, Your Honor.
The defendant started the testimony saying that he met Miss Connolly at his favorite pizza joint and placed his usual order. But instead, they got flirty with their interests in music, and he asked to sing for her. But the plaintiff cut him off and told the whole story.
I said, who are you? What are you talking about? He's talking something, you don't know me. I'm famous. I sing. I said, well, sing. He held a note. So I said, oh, okay, I can sing too. So I sung a song that I had wrote. And he was like, oh, okay, you can sing too. So we
all this before the order was placed.
Before the order was placed. We exchanged numbers. I had no intentions on calling him.
First shower and then bed appetite. So the plaintiff denied it and said that she was intimate with him another day. But Mr. Haskell shared that once she was manipulated as his girlfriend and was playing the victim card. However, this wasn't enough. He had more tea to spill than anyone else.
She had keys to my house and I didn't even know it. I come home one day, Your Honor, I got my female friend with me. I'm thinking I'm about to go and have a relaxed time in my room. She's laying in my bed. My mom not home. I'm asking, how did you get in?
Can I speak?
I have keys. Your mother gave me keys. How did you get keys if you don't know?
She's on a total hijack mission. Then the judge gave her time to respond, and she revealed that to her assumption, they were in a relationship at that time. But the defendant didn't even wait and sparked more clownery in the court with his accusations.
She had to buy my mother. She must have bought her pizza every night.
You brought me to
when
your
she was
house.
hungry, she bought her pizza at home every night. That's how she got in the house.
Wait, you brought me
Because my
to
mom
your
loved pizza.
That
It
is
was
not true.
pepperonis every night.
Mother doesn't even eat pork, so I don't know why you're lying. He's a liar
My
and
mom-
a master manipulator.
He is surely a liar at this point. His statements are like those accusations from a 5-year-old. So the judge asked her about pregnancy, and Miss Connolly told that she moved to Texas and came back to him and explained how she conceived.
So I told him that whole week that I'm fertile, so be careful, because we never use protection.
She had it in her mind that she was going to trap me. She knew she was pregnant.
You don't have no money.
So she indicated in her mind frame, okay, this is a perfect opportunity with a guy that could sing, popular in DC, one of the famous guys that's singing.
He might be proud of his Texas song, but he's bragging about himself too much. Well, his song must be really sweet. That's why they made a baby. There were lots of accusations and denials, so the judge brought in Mr. Haskell's witness, and he told more about the plaintiff's dirty gaze.
She tried to talk to me on multiple occasions.
That's a
Your
lie.
Honor. Like, for instance, it was one time
First
she
of all,
was
sit
parked
down.
outside of my cousin's home, right?
Sit down.
And
He's
I'm
a
walking to the
non-factor.
store.
I don't even know him.
Or she honked the horn. I go over there to see what she want, and she's flirting with me. So I brushed that off.
not
I
true.
continue to walk.
I would never
But
smash the
she even slept with a close friend of ours, Your Honor.
That's a lie.
A pile of accusations is thrown at her. What will she do now? So the judge asked her about the birth certificate, and she told that he was present there but didn't sign the birth certificate because of the doubts. Next, the plaintiff's witness was brought in, and she shocked everyone with her statement.
It was like, after that,
Your
it
Honor.
was no talking to the nurse about the DNA. Like,
All
I was
right,
waiting for the
Your
blood
Honor,
test.
you were there.
Yes.
But when it came time to execute the birth certificate, you did not want to sign it because you did have doubts.
Yes.
Do you believe Mr. Haskell is your grandchild's biological father?
No.
Ooh, mother and daughter at odds. He didn't see this coming. So the defendant said that she shared with him about the other guy, and the plaintiff admitted it, but denied the time frame of that event. Next, Mr. Haskell requested the judge for his performance drama.
Just one question. I would like to know, would you like to hear the song that I wrote?
Yes, go ahead.
Feeling like the weight of the world on my shoulder. Can't sleep, can't eat till it's over. Been through the same lies and scheme in my past though. Why wouldn't I think she trying to get over? Is it cause the buzz I got in these streets? Civilized good head on my shoulder.
The judge had enough of all the drama and one-sided accusations. Both of them wanted attention, and there was no concern about the baby's paternity. There was only one way to find out the truth, and that is with the DNA results.
You are her father.
What'd I tell you?
Did you write a song for that?
Mind games are played very well by some people, and one of the players here is Mr. Glover, who denied the plaintiff's son's paternity. while Miss Williams called him out, saying he should play his fatherly roles instead of his games. To set things straight in this case, we need a DNA test.
Ms. Williams, you say you are furious that Mr. Glover is denying paternity of your 10-month-old son, Ralph. You claim Mr. Glover is an irresponsible man-child who would rather play mind games than be a father. And you intend to prove paternity today, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
The plaintiff started the testimony and said that Mr. Glover played mind games with her, and every time he had to cheat or lie, he would straight away deny her baby and avoid his responsibilities. Then the defendant took the judge to their nature of the relationship.
I was doing videos. I'm a famous entertainer, so I was doing videos in apartments that she was staying in, you know. So everybody know me around.
You a famous entertainer?
Yeah, I'm a famous entertainer. City, state to state. I'm everywhere.
I know that's right.
You know.
With your bling on and everything.
Cause I play no games.
I know that's right.
She played too many games.
He play a lot of games, Your Honor.
The dude got a whole minute to explain and did nothing but brag about his rap career. So the judge again asked the same question, and the plaintiff replied that they were friends and got together, but he knew that she was being nurtured by her sugar daddy, and the defendant started arguing with her.
You planning the baby? You planning the baby because the mind games kicked in.
All right, so I want to understand this. Did you break it off with your sugar daddy?
No.
And they prove right there that it ain't my baby, cause she ain't break it off with nobody. She was fumbling around all in the city. I don't know who baby that is.
He was playing mind games, telling me he was going back to school, but he was making it work with his ex.
The judge wanted to understand more, so the plaintiff explained that a lucky butt dial from Mr. Glover exposed his dirty lie while he was grinding another girl. She heard the moans from her phone, and he covered it up by calling it a radio. Then the defendant quickly defended himself.
Now, you're absolutely correct.
She knew the type of person I was when she first met me, Your Honor. She knew I really wasn't no one-woman man. She knew that when she first met me.
You wasn't a one-woman's man when I met you, but you wanted to be a one-woman's man once you found out what type of good woman I was. It's why you took me off the market, right?
How you was a good woman and you run around with several other different men?
So after sugar daddies and moaning radios, what's next they've got for us? Just wondering. So the judge revisited the whole testimony, and Miss Williams revealed that she wasn't intimate with anyone and got full time back with her sugar daddy. Hearing this, the defendant accused her of being promiscuous.
No dude don't give you no $3,900 just to be talking to you. And who wants you like that?
You knew he was giving me this $3,900. Insecure.
Hold on.
Need the man up and take care of his responsibility and stop making excuses.
Let's talk one at a time.
Upon asking about pregnancy, she said that he was happy and they moved to a new place to start their family. And that's where things went down badly, as he got insecure and called her a cheater every time for ignoring his calls. Then the judge asked the defendant about his doubts.
We started talking or whatever, but when we got back together, she left. And when she left and she came back, she started, she just was always defensive about everything. She always had an attitude about everything. And then when she let me finish, when she came back, she never let me do it all of a sudden. She trying to pin the baby on me so she can have this mind right here.
You ain't a good guy as well. Next, the judge got it confirmed from Miss Williams that she wasn't intimate with anyone during the conception period, and then brought the defendant's witness, who gave the testimony against her.
When it comes to a sugar daddy, a daddy ain't gonna be there unless you giving him some sugar. This is the hotel of the location that Jaleesa sent me. After she got her clothes off the back seat, she exited the vehicle very fast. I got to this edge, looked to the right. Dun, 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 dun. This is the vehicle that belongs to the man in question.
The plaintiff explained that her sugar daddy was only there to get her a room, and she was never intimate with him. So she gets herself clean every time there's a doubt. Next, the judge asked Mr. Glover why he felt like he was being trapped.
And her the next day, so I know this is a lie. That's why I say I cut the cake right there. It ain't my baby. We can go on leave now.
Yeah, because we was already arguing about him not coming home the day before.
It's a sad situation. You a sad person.
Now you sitting up here denying all this about this baby when you been there the whole 9 months. So why all of a sudden he in question only when you mad?
Both parties stood in the court crazily arguing over their priorities and were completely ignorant of the innocent baby whose paternity was in question. So, to end all this drama, the judge was ready to announce the results.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Glover, you are the father.
So where's